A caricature of Europe. Any proposals by Europeans, such as Emmanuel Macron's words about security guarantees for Ukraine, are ridiculed. Macron is presented as a warmonger. His phrase about boots on the ground is turned into a nursery rhyme. Talk, talk, nightmare, cook, I'm not. Listening to you, I'll eat you for lunch. Thus, the serious topic of the continent's security is translated into a grotesque, where Europe is deprived of seriousness and political weight. The culmination of the discussion is a return to the fundamental cause of the conflict, according to Moscow, allegedly to the fact that, after the collapse of the USSR, the West nurtured anti-Russian forces along the borders. This is the key mantra. The war is explained not by the Kremlin's aggression, but by the imposed threat from NATO and the EU. The whole story with the Euro-dwarfs and the dapple kitten is just a decoration for this message. The main goal is obvious. Moscow wants to cement in the minds of viewers the idea that real diplomacy is a dialogue between the US and Russia, and that Europe and Ukraine are merely supporting actors. Such rhetoric not only devalues European subjectivity, but also seeks to drive a wedge into transatlantic unity. Russian television consistently undermines trust in Europe, presenting it as a humiliated and dependent player. And of course, a very telling episode also during yesterday's negotiations. When the meeting with the Europeans was still in full swing, Donald Trump decided to interrupt it to do something really important. He went to call Vladimir Putin. This is amazing, having abandoned them. He went to actually talk to Vladimir Putin, talked with Putin for 40 minutes, after which he returned, and it was all over. The meeting actually did not continue. I already said the final press conference was not a joint press conference. Instead, Donald Trump published a tweet in True Social in which he gave the following assessment of both his conversation with Putin and the previous negotiations in Washington. Let's listen. Had a very good meeting. We discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which will be provided by various European countries in coordination with the United States of America. Everyone is very happy about the possibility of achieving peace between Russia and Ukraine. After that, I called President Putin and began organizing a meeting, the location of which has yet to be determined between Putin and Zelensky. After this meeting, there will be a trilateral format, 2 presidents and me. Vice President James Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and U.S. Presidential Special Envoy Steve Witkow are coordinating the initiative to settle the conflict between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. That is, Trump would like, of course, for his domestic political reasons primarily, to maintain a high dynamic and prepare for the next meetings at the level of leaders. Russia, however, prefers to focus on content, not on meetings with leaders. And if we talk about the root causes of the conflict, well, it is clear that we are talking about NATO expansion, we are talking about military infrastructure and so on, but all this is rather a manifestation of the main root cause. And the main root cause is that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Westerners began to nurture nationalist, not even anti-Russian, but anti-Russian forces, nurture them, take them into their military machine, and deploy them along the borders of Russia. That is, the root cause of the conflict is the creation of these endless anti-Russian bookmarks along the Russian western border. And the position of these Europeans shows that they do not want to move away from this root cause. Therefore, their position on these pseudo-guarantees of security is simultaneously a position because they do not want to remove the root causes of the conflict. And from my point of view, These two issues are really very closely interconnected. Tell me, are there any other examples where Russia says it is necessary to limit the army? Not in relation to our allies, not in relation to our enemies. This is the only example. Why? Because this regime does not meet the people's expectation.